Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sin City TV. Come watch TV with me. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sin City TV. Get on ahead and come watch TV with me. So today I want to start doing like a series of character breakdowns and relationship breakdowns about one of my absolute favorite shows out right now. Well, it's not out right now. It just went off, but Yellowjackets, okay? I am so obsessed with this show and I want to keep making Yellowjackets content. I love it. So I'm just going to come up here and post my hot takes and post my theories and post my character analysis, so you guys can come watch and we can talk about it and have something to do in the interim of us waiting to find out if we're going to get a season 4, which I'm pretty confident that we will. I'll take when your sister is your hairstylist and your 2 long locks are getting on your nerves. Thank you, girl. So first up, of course, I had to start this series talking about my favorites because they are the ones that I am most passionate about, okay? Thaisa Turner and Van Palmer, my babies. Okay, now this video might ruffle y'all feathers, and that's okay because that's the beauty of talking about television in my personal opinion. Let's agree to disagree, okay? Now, Thaisa and Van are my absolute favorite characters, and they are my favorite ship. I love them as a couple. They do my heart joy. Okay, they fill me with joy. They make me feel good on the inside. I love them. But they never should have reconnected. Now, did I love watching it? Yes. Okay. Did I love seeing them in all of their glory and being just 2 beautiful women in love? Yes, I loved it. But it never should have occurred because they were trauma bonded. And you're supposed to run from trauma bonds. Trauma bonds are not good. Trauma bonds are not healthy. Trauma bonds are not anything that you're supposed to aspire to have. Okay? But they had an intense trauma bond that is deeper than I think a lot of y'all are really willing to understand or accept. Let's talk about it. Now, let's start out talking about Ty. The moment we meet Ty, we get the sense that she is a perfectionist. She is a very headstrong, very ambitious young woman. Okay, she strives for success. She strives for perfection. Things have to be right. Okay, she's very confident, self-assured, and she knows that she's a leader in her own body, and she will not settle for anything less than the best. And I think that there's also attributes to the fact that she was raised by Black women. And I know she's biracial. I know that. But she was raised by Black women, her mother and her grandmother. You can tell in the storyline that we got that her grandmother was an integral part of her coming up. Okay. When you're raised by Black women, especially in the 90s, you are raised to always aspire to be the best in the room, because being Black, you always have that against you. It is what it is, especially in the 90s. Okay, so she was raised with this mentality, I got to be better than everybody in the room. Okay, she was also raised to kind of have this image of perfection, image of being very well put together. And one thing that I go back to when I watched the pilot episode is when she's leaving the house to go to catch the plane, and her mother's like, oh, let me grab my keys. And she's like, no, I have arrived. And her dad says something to the lines of, remember to have fun. Like, just remember you're supposed to have fun too. And the mom kind of looks at her dad like, don't tell her that. Like, she got to go win. You know what I'm saying? So like Ty was built like that. Okay. Hear me out. Then we have Van, a young woman whose home life is not perfect by any means. She seems like she's very self-sufficient, like she's raising her damn self. Okay? But she has this joy about her. Van was a very, very joyful spirit, kind, loving, funny. Okay? The life of the party, make everybody laugh, make everybody smile, even with what she had going on at home. So I kind of think she had a way of dissociating and forgetting, that her home life was so trash. And that's why she was able to have such a joyful spirit. She was also confident in who she was as a person. Van ain't never tried to be anybody other than herself from the moment that we meet her. She was very clearly a queer young woman. You could look at her and tell. Her mannerisms, her actions, the way she dressed, the way she held herself. She was a queer young woman, okay? And she didn't care. She didn't care what anybody thought about that. She didn't care. She was her, okay? That wasn't who Ty was. Ty wasn't there yet. Okay, Ty wasn't at a place where she could be comfortable to live in her queerness because she had to be perfect. Okay? And being queer wasn't perfect, especially not in the 90s. And it was not going to get her to where she was supposed to get to. Okay, she had aspirations and goals. Howard, law. You think that her being queer was going to help her in that aspect? Absolutely not. So she had to keep that shit on a hush until they were in a place where none of that mattered. The wilderness. They didn't think they were going to make it home. Okay, after a while, it's like, okay, we're not going to get rescued. So this is it. So I'm going to live in my fullness. I'm going to live in my full self, my full sexuality with this woman, this person that I love, or this person that I'm trying to get to love. You know what I mean? Like they were building that bond when they first started, hooking up or whatever in the wilderness, because I don't think that they were a couple beforehand. Their bond and their love to each other was formulated in the wilderness, in that trauma. That ain't good, y'all. As beautiful as their love is, because it is a very beautiful connection and bond, and I love to watch it. I love it. But that's the beauty of their love story, is it's tragic. And it never had a happy ending. You think that Ty and Van were supposed to have a happy ending? No, we watching the wrong show, y'all. We need an AU because this ain't it. So yes, them being stuck in the wilderness gave them the freedom to fully be themselves and be together. And the thought of going back to the real world hit Taissa in a way that Van couldn't understand, because Van was always fully herself. You know what I mean? She wasn't scared of what people were going to think about her when she got back. She didn't care because, hey, people probably already know. Ty didn't have that luxury. She didn't have that luxury to go back and be her full self, because her full self would not get her to the places that she needed to go. Because pre-wilderness, Taissa would have chosen success over Van in the quickness before the wilderness. Okay, before they were able to build that trauma bond. Being stuck in the wilderness and creating that bond put Ty in a pickle. Because now it's hard for her now. Now she's like, I love this person. I want to be with this person. But I also got to go back to the real world, and I still have my same aspirations, and I still want to be successful. You know what I mean? But she didn't have the same luxury that Van had, which I think was ultimately their demise when they get back to the real world. And I really hope that we get scenes of them post-rescue in season 4, because that's going to be some shit. Because I think that was really their demise. Like Ty wanting success and wanting to be seen in a certain light for respectability. Because I feel like that's what Van says to her in season 3. Like, what did you ditch me for? Like, I don't really exactly know the lines, but something about respectability. And Ty ended up being gay anyway. But that's what came with progression. Years of progression and the queer community doing the work, and Ty was able to finally fully be herself, but Van had already gotten to that point. They were not meeting halfway, they were just two different people that were trauma bonded and then had to go back into the real world and realize that they were not compatible. And also something that strikes me that I think about, and I know I've seen, I think Liv and Lauren say this in interviews, that when Van went back home, her experience was probably different because, again, she was this happy, joyful kid pre-wilderness, and then she goes back to the real world. Again, in the 90s, it was not acceptable as it is now to be queer. And now she's in this huge limelight. It's all this press, and I'm pretty sure she was on the news and all of these things. And she has these scars on her face, and she's not being accepted by society. You know what I mean? She was probably having to deal with a lot of hate being thrown at her, a lot of mean things may have been said to her or about her. Shit probably wasn't pretty for Van when she got back home, having to deal with society and what they had to say about her being a queer woman with scars on her face. Like, it probably was not cute for her. And that's probably what snuffed the light out of her, because adult Van was not the same young, carefree, spirited, high-spirited, light-loving, funny girl that she was when she was younger. She wasn't. And that was probably because all of the years of having to deal with the scrutiny, it's literally sucked the life out of her. And I think Lottie clocked that shit in season 2. Lottie tells her, you used to be so full of life. And now, you know, it's a lot. These characters are so much deeper than surface level, and you really got to look for it. You got to pay attention. So yeah, that's why I say that I think that my girls Ty and Van were just doomed from the start, because their relationship was formed on trauma. And that's never a good thing, you guys. That's never a good sign. And I feel like the show gave us so many nuggets to kind of symbolize that. But of course, we just being so infatuated with the love that these two women share, we might have ignored a lot of it. Let's talk about some of them. One revelation that I got this season that blew my mind was we finally got an understanding of the significance of the man with no eyes and what he means to Ty. If you didn't make that connection, let me make it for you right now. Okay. We learned in season 1, right when they were burying the bodies of the people who passed on the plane crash, Ty immediately has a memory of when her grandmother passed. And that was the first time that she saw the man with no eyes. And I feel like in Thaisa's brain, she correlated death with the man with no eyes because of the trauma that was instilled in her as a child. Children can relate trauma to anything. Like when you're a child, the memories you form sometimes don't make sense. And I feel like that was one for her, this random man with no eyes from a commercial that your grandmother was talking to as she passed about, please don't take my eyes. And it scared her. So it seared a memory into her brain that she correlated with trauma, stress, and death. Okay, so now in the wilderness, she's under intense stress. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm not really that good at articulating myself, but I'm trying my best. So in the wilderness, she's under this intense stress, and her brain goes back to the man with no eyes, and she starts sleepwalking. And when she's sleepwalking, she's looking for the man with no eyes so he won't take their eyes. That's what her brain is telling her. And the whole time Van is there with her. Now, over time, this sleepwalking develops into this alter personality now. Now she can come out without Ty even being sleeping. And it's a trauma trigger. The other Ty is triggered when Thaisa is in trauma or in peril or in a position where she has to make decisions and she doesn't know how. Because again, she's a perfectionist. So her brain has created this alter ego that's willing to make all the hard decisions. Okay, and in the wilderness, other Ty had to make hard decisions to save Van, to keep Van alive, to keep them both alive. So she manifests in those times of stress. Now, in the present time in season 1, Ty was dealing with the campaign and all this stuff, people smearing her name, and her child is involved, fighting people on the playground for talking bad about his mama. It was just getting to become a lot. Other Ty started surfacing then. And it got worse and worse, and bad things start happening. Now she's hallucinating. They get in a car crash. Simone's in the hospital. Other Ty like, you need to handle this. And other Ty, all she want is Van. Okay? She's back into that traumatic space. Thaisa ain't herself no more. Okay? She's other Ty. And other Ty just want Van. And that's why, because I know a lot of the fans were upset, and me included, with the kind of Simone erasure. As much as I love Ty and Van, as much as I wanted to see them together, Thaisa had a wife, okay, who was in a coma. And it really pissed me off that they just left my good sis in the hospital. And now Van living up in Ty house where her box is in the basement. Hello? Like, no. But it makes perfect sense when you're looking at it from another perspective that other Ty had come into the room, okay? And she had business that she needed to take care of. Where my girl at? Where's Van? Go to her, okay? And that's what she did. Go and get her. Go on and get her. So that's what Ty did. She went on and found her, okay? Now, I strongly believe that if Ty never showed up on Van's door, Van might have been able to live a little longer. She might have been able to push through the diagnosis. This show is crazy because that's what I think. Because, like, when she cut her foot and went to the doctor told her, your cancer is getting better. Like, we're seeing some changes. It's a miracle. Y'all think that that wouldn't have happened? Y'all think that that still wouldn't have happened if Ty wasn't there? Yes, it would have. It still would have been a discussion that she had with the doctors. I still think her cancer would have started to progress. Now, was it a fluke? I don't know. But in my brain, in my delusional mind, Van was going to be okay. In my delusional brain, Van was going to beat that cancer. And she was going to be all right. But Taissa had to show up at her door and take her on a whirlwind of pain and trauma. Okay, my baby was happy. Okay, she might have been dying, but she was happy. Okay, she was happy in her video store. She was living her best life. She was good. Okay, fuck these bills. Then was like, fuck these bills, all that. I ain't gonna be here soon, so fuck these bills, fuck all that. I'm gonna just live happy. And I just feel like if my boo Ty didn't show up on her doorstep, Van might have been okay. And even if she wasn't okay, she might have passed away happy, healthy, not healthy, but maybe not even happy, but comfortable in her bed under a heated blanket. Okay, with some morphine for the pain. And just peaceful. Not shanked in the chest. With a just she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve it. And Yellowjackets think they slick because it's high key my fault that I got emotionally connected to this character. Now, Van was always my favorite. Don't mistake me. When I first started watching season 1, I immediately was like, oh, I like her. I loved Van. I was like, oh, that's my favorite. That's my boo. And then when she got attacked by the wolves, I thought she was going to die then. And I was like, damn, my baby. But she didn't. I was like, okay, good. So then when in season 2, when we get adult Van, I was over the moon. I was so excited, so happy. So of course I let myself get emotionally attached to this woman. Okay. Now listen here. If I had been paying attention, and my eyes was open, I would have known that we weren't going to have it for long because they was giving us little hints and clues and something was not right the whole time. The very first moment we meet Van and she takes a bite of that donut and she goes into the refrigerator, drinks her drink, and she stands there at the counter. My analysis of this scene is because she cannot keep that bite of donut down because she's ill. Okay. And then I noticed that every time after that, when it comes to like food, she... Like when Ty bought her dinner the night after she went to the doctor to get her foot checked, and Ty went to go check on the waiter, blah, blah, blah. And Ty hands her the container of food, and Van's like, thank you. And she opens it, looks at it, and she's like, because she don't want to eat it, because she can't, because she's ill. And I think that's why she was shaking when they got the pretzel, because she's ill. Oh, God. That's just my analysis of it. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I took things. And I feel like they were just giving us clues that this is not a well woman. And maybe you shouldn't fall in love with her, audience, because we are going to break your heart in T-8 episodes. And that's exactly what you fuckers did. But yeah, that's my ramblings about Ty and Van. I think that they were a doomed couple from the start. No matter how much we love them and no matter how much their love really lit me up. It was a trauma bond. It was a very intense trauma bond. And you can even see it when the moments where they kiss. Because, baby, those kiss scenes of theirs are very, very, very enticing. Because they're so passionate. Okay, listen. I love Ty, man. But yeah, the passion is palpable. Okay. And it goes to show that was a bond that might not have been too healthy. Because kiss me like that. I can't promise we not gonna make a wilderness, baby. Because hello. right here in the open on Lottie's compound. Yeah. Misty would have came out to something. She would have came out to something. Because don't kiss me like that. But yeah, I hope you guys like this little rant and ramble about my thoughts and opinions about Ty and Van. And I plan on doing this about every character on the show, the main characters and the secondary characters. Yeah, that's just what I plan on doing for the next couple of weeks to kind of keep my Yellowjackets content coming. I want to talk to y'all. I want to create a little community here for my Yellowjackets folks. And yeah, tap into the comments, talk to me, let me know what you think. If you like my content, please like and subscribe to my channel and follow me on TikTok and Instagram so that you can keep up with me and all the things that I'm talking about. And yeah, let's create a bond.